All right, we're live. Good afternoon, TCU and TCU Athletics. Today I'm joined by Max Kurzban, a former player of TCU and TCU Athletics. He put in work here playing sports, which I'm going to let him talk about. He's also put in a lot of work in the classroom, has lots of great experience. Thank you so much for your time today, Max, and we definitely look forward to hearing all the gems and all the knowledge that you have and experience that, we're going to be able to hear today on this Players to Professionals interview with you. So, thank you for your time today and joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David. I don't know about the gems part specifically, but I'm definitely looking forward to sharing my experiences.
Yeah, well, you're doing it. You're doing it. You've been there, done that. We have a lot of up and coming student athletes here at TCU, and anything you say, I'm sure will be of benefit to them. So, why don't you start by telling us about yourself, your current role, maybe, sport, grad year, current company you're with now.
Yeah, definitely. So I started at TCU in 2018, and I recently just graduated last May. Like you said, I was an athlete. I played on the tennis team, where we were tremendously successful, and couldn't be prouder, happier to be a part of that environment. While playing tennis, I was also in the Neely School of Business. I actually did a double major in accounting and finance with a real estate concentration. And the Neely School of Business couldn't have been a better experience for me. There's so many resources and personal development, professional development, and then of course, the classes that I was taking were extremely relevant, especially to the work that I'm doing today, or that I will be doing. But I've been in training for the last couple of weeks, and that brings me to where I'm at now. I recently started about a month ago with Chartwell Financial Advisory. Chartwell is headquartered in Minneapolis, and they have a couple of offices around the country. And as they continue to grow, there'll be hopefully more offices. And the one that I'm at specifically is in Dallas, where it was opened in August of last year. So I was lucky enough to join the team here as an analyst starting out.
Nice.
And it's been a really great experience so far. I've been through training and hopefully picking up projects here shortly.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure you will be picking up the project soon. And, I'm a student. I was a student athlete myself, and now I'm also, in a space where I'm, feeling like everything was relevant and it's picking up full circle. So all that work that you put in and how it's paying off for you now, and how, you've seen how the grind continues. I think that that's great. I'm sure that you'll continue to see that success. And so since you were a student athlete that was able to navigate at TCU, playing sports, being an athlete, utilize the resources at TCU that were available to you and come out on top successful, and now, doing something that you're enjoying doing and it working out for you the way that it is, what advice would you share with other student athletes possibly looking for internships or careers?
Yeah, that's a great question. And during my senior year and junior year, I had to start the process of reaching out to different folks at different companies. And more specifically, when I was a senior, I really just hit the apply button as much as possible, whether it was an online, in person, friend of a friend. And basically, there is no downside to opening any door possible, because at the end of the day, what you're really going to get away from that experience, that door, what I'm talking about specifically, is a great conversation, meeting new people, and getting more exposure into what number one you want to do starting out from college,
Mhm.
and help familiarize you with conversations that you'll have during a potential interview, which interviewing for me, I was a little bit overconfident to start about viewing myself in an internship situation or an interview situation.
Mhm.
And just like anything else, an interview is something for me that I had to practice and I had to get comfortable, and there's a lot of takeaways that you can get from meeting different folks, wherever that might be.
Oh yeah. So see, you already are dropping gems. You're dropping gems all over this interview and conversation we're having. You hit a lot of different things. Having that conversation, utilizing different resources, and I agree with you 100%. Without those mentors, without those, interviewing sessions where you can have those takeaways, I think that it'll be harder along that process. So hearing how you've used those resources and how it's benefited you, I think is great. And having that for other student athletes, and them hearing that, I feel like it will help them to want to take more advantage of that so they can climb to their success as well. So given that you said, how you've managed to have certain conversations, and meet your people and everything like that, what would you have to say about networking and how important, during, this process has been for you and your, rise up to where you are now?
Yeah, and I'll also further elaborate on your point about being at TCU, is that TCU will open a lot of doors for you if you put yourself out there. Obviously, TCU is respected across the nation very highly. And then the people there will, whether it's the Career Center, the Athletic Career Center, the resources there are all set to get you where you want to be. Whether it's, I had many conversations with the Career Center, and some of them we didn't even, send out, emails to other people. It was more just assessing where I'm at in my process, making sure that I have the right mental state, asking a couple of questions that aren't totally related to the job hunt, but another element of it. I don't know if that answers your question completely, but
Oh yeah, it most definitely does. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I would say about TCU. All the tools to be successful, starting out and later in life are for sure all there. And the good thing is you can use them as much as you want.
Yeah, you definitely highlighted how important it is to network and utilize your time effectively outside of being an athlete. You're a student too. You have career aspirations, you have ambitions. You were able to do that effectively, and that's where it got you. So we know that being a student athlete is not all shine and glamour. It's not all, it's not, there's always the obstacles. There's always the, the adversity. So, for you, what were maybe some of your biggest challenges while exploring the careers that you wanted to work in? How did you overcome them? And then how did you decide what was a good fit for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, this is no secret that 2020 was the hardest year to find a job.
Yeah.
And it was stressful. But just like anything else, it's a process. So, I wouldn't say I was strongly situated at the beginning of my senior year of college, but by the end of it, I found a situation that was successful to me. So viewing it as a process was definitely one of the biggest things, because you might open two doors here, and they might be long hallways, and then they might close, and
Right.
then it seems like a dead end, but in reality it's not, because like I said earlier, you do gain exposure and experience from those different doors. But where I was going with this is that 2020 and it being such a hard year to find jobs and roles out there online, I had to open as many doors as possible. I was talking to friends of friends of friends. Like, it started with one connection, then it was a friend of a friend. So basically, if you were to build up this giant family tree of people, they would all lead back to the source eventually. But it was definitely a great experience overall, because I felt like I was connecting with different people that are doing different things, and viewing it as a process rather than instantly getting the result
Oh yeah.
was
Mhm.
key, especially for something like that.
Yeah. No, yeah, knowing that it's a process, you just said it there like right on. I think that you're totally right. Knowing that it's a process, telling student athletes that it's a process, um, when they're searching for careers, you're going to hit obstacles just like you do in sports, right? I'm sure you've seen the progression when you were playing tennis.
Right.
You were not, where you wanted to be probably at a certain point,
Right.
but it was a process. You got to where, you got to the level of mastery in your sport through hard work, not stopping, not giving up, just because you hit a wall or you couldn't master a technique in one day. You're not going to get the job in one day. You got to utilize your time effectively, network, like you said, do those interview prep sessions, like you said, over time, it pays off.
Yeah. What very well said.
Yeah. So I think that that's, great insight to how you overcame your challenges. I think it'll be very helpful for our student athletes here. So that brings us to, some of, if you had any other words as of like, what would you leave now that you're not here at TCU anymore? What would you leave with the student athletes here, or any students in general that watch this, type of wisdom, advice, who may be unsure of the career paths or not used to using the career center or student athlete development?
Yeah, I think the key thing is that those resources are available to any student there, and the hardest part is getting started with it. Once you start those conversations with those at the career center, it just becomes easier to develop the conversation even further. For the student athlete specifically, my advice, and I've heard this a lot throughout my time, is there's a cycle of I can't get work because I don't have experience, and I can't get experience because I don't have work. And it's that cycle, because as an athlete, like you said, our time is limited, and we don't have the opportunity to work full part-time during the school year. Summer is difficult for pretty much every athlete out there. So even though you think that you don't have experience, specifically to the student athletes, what I did and what everyone there is doing right now is pretty much work experience. And there's a lot to speak to for the day in and day out of being a student athlete at TCU. So with that, I would use that as to your benefit, and don't look at it as I haven't had the opportunity to get experience in this specific role, because a lot of the skills that I learned while being a tennis player at TCU will show up, especially in my career here at Chartwell. And I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. thank you, Max. I know for a fact that the student athletes will be able to benefit from all the insights that you were able to lay on us in this interview. And everyone, just so you know, Max is working for Chartwell, and it's known as a national leader in financial advisory. So everything that relates to finance, consulting, corporate finance, that's where he's at now and what that entails. So, before we hop off, just so we can keep up with you and they can see how you've went from player to professional, how has training been for you, and what are you working on now as a newly professional?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. We were kind of going through the progression of what it's going to look like starting out as an analyst. For those of you that don't know, being an analyst is just grinding hours in Excel models and looking at data, inputting data, analyzing data. And so getting used to what Chartwell specifically looks for and how their models are run is kind of the key focus of these last couple of weeks as we get into projects here soon. And yeah, please, if any student athletes, any students reach out to me, any questions, any guidance, I'd love to help.
Yeah. Are you on Horned Frogs Connect?
I don't believe I'm on Horned Frogs Connect. I haven't heard about that one.
Well, I will shoot you an email after this, but for our student athletes, I know it's open to, I feel like, our second, third, and fourth year now, or maybe third and fourth, but they're going to be continuing to open it up. But it's for alumni and current students and student athletes to hop on, and they can connect with one another, and they can help each other out, provide insight, any type of thing like that. So, I would say to the student athletes, as we conclude, hop on Horned Frogs Connect, make your account, and, reach out to professionals like Max here, who once was in your shoes and would be willing to help. So thank you again, Max. Thank you from TCU. And it was a pleasure having this conversation with you today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, David. And go Frogs.
Yeah, go Frogs. I'm going to stop.